Hi, Christina. How you doing? Thanks for getting your work in. Um, so let's go through this now. What I'm doing in these videos, and before I get started, I would like to encourage you to go back through this discussion forum and view as many of these critique videos as you can. You'll notice a lot of similarities in the videos. One thing I'm really keying on this week is getting all students to understand the difference between design and design thinking, as well as how to really approach this human-centered design deep dive challenge. So I've got a few comments and recommendations in terms of not necessarily your submission, but which I will talk about, but more understanding where we're at and where we need to be. So you've got your research here. Now, the main thing I want to talk about is the difference between design and design thinking. Okay, so what we're after here, Christina, what are we after in this assignment? And if you're answering, and if you're answering the question, we're after redesigning a vehicle configurator. I would ask you at that point, if that was your answer, then I would ask you at that point to reconsider your answer, because that's not really exactly what we're after. This is human-centered design. This is deep dive immersion techniques, meaning what we need to do is take a look at the whole situation, the overall situation, meaning the way that Americans buy cars, the system, the process in which we buy cars. And what we're after here is we're after you as a team member and your team. And what we're after is deep research. What you want to uncover with that research is the biggest problems associated with, from a buyer's perspective. This is important. From a buyer's perspective, what are the biggest pain points and what are the biggest issues associated with the process in which we purchase cars in this country? And that's a really critical part of your research. I see you've got in your research, I see you've got some facts and figures, and then we also have this general mission statement for General Motors. But what we're really after in research is the way that your target market perceives the car buying process. So in other words, we're out to change the system, not just to design a vehicle configurator, right? So the nature of deep dive immersion is this, is we take a look at the situation. So this is asking us to develop a vehicle configurator, right? So in order to be human-centered, what we need to do is step back and take a look at the problem of the current situation, all right? And you'll see, and through that research, you're going to find that one of the issues, the biggest issues from a buyer's perspective, one of the biggest problems in the whole system or the whole process of buying a car is that it's more geared towards the benefit of the salesperson and the dealership. That's why when we go in or someone goes into a dealership to buy a car, you get this high pressure from the second you walk in the door. Quick story, a couple of years ago, my wife and I were looking at cars. We walked into a dealership. I think it was you know what? I think it was a Volkswagen dealership. I don't remember. It was a Volkswagen dealership. But anyways, we walked in, and the guy, and we had already been talking. We had looked at a few cars, and we had spent a lot of time at different dealerships, and we kept talking about, man, I wish there was just a way that we could just go in and get some things looked at, and without just incentive and this high pressure incentive to buy now, right? So this guy actually, we walked in and we sit down. I swear my butt didn't even touch the seat of the chair, and this guy had already said, all right, if you buy today, I can give you some extra incentives. All you got to do is sign right here and tell me you're going to buy today, and I can give you some extra incentives. And I'm like, what are you talking about, guy? I mean, we haven't even made a decision yet, and you're trying to get me to buy now? This is just ridiculous. And I think if you think about it, it is ridiculous. So that system is geared towards the salesman. And also, if you know, and through research, you'll find out that one of the biggest complaints of new car buyers is the fact that the high pressure tactics by the salesperson. Then we have to go to the finance person. The finance person's has different plans than you. They don't even, half the time, they don't even ask you. They ask you one question: how much can you afford a month? Okay, and that's not a fair question to ask a buyer. That should not be pertinent information. Pertinent information is what is the best deal you can give me, not how much I can afford to pay a month. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see how that is again geared towards the benefit of the dealership and as opposed to the benefit of the purchaser, right? So what we want to do is we want to, through the vehicle configurator, we want to kind of address these situations, the pain points. And that's what you have to, that's what I recommend that you would have to research deeply, is the pain points associated with buying a car using our current process of car buying. Once you identify those pain points, you're going to see that, yes, there are going to be issues with the salesperson, with the finance people, and really with the long-term projections of the car. So we can address these things. So let's think of how we can address them. So the salesperson, we can address eliminating the salesperson with the vehicle configurator. However we decide to use the configurator. I see you've got some sketches, great sketches, by the way. You're just a wonderful sketch artist. These are fantastic. But your ideas are this. You've got a hologram here. You've got this kind of virtual reality screen here. And then you've got a 360, looks like a projection from an iPad. And these are all fantastic ideas. But what they're not doing is they're not addressing the problem from a human-centered design. This is still design and not human-centered design, not design thinking. So what you can do here, and it's really going to be an easy fix, is just add features to the configurator. So let's say you go with the virtual reality, right, which is a great thing. So you configure your whole car. You're viewing the car 360. You can walk around. You can look inside the car. Now what? How can we address the human-centered problems? Well, I've already eliminated the salesperson by being able to configure our car ourselves, right? So you can select everything from tire size to, rims and packages and suspension and drivetrain and what kind of motor you want, all sorts of different things you can configure, colors, interior, blah, 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 right? And then my recommendation is to add to the virtual reality, add things like this. Okay, so can we maybe even add this report? So this generates a report with all of your configured preferences, right? Then you can send that to, maybe consider sending it to a drive simulator, where you can where the computer actually takes all of your information and configures the car based on your preferences. It wouldn't be visual. It would just be like a pod, like a hydraulic pod or something with projection screens, so that you could simulate driving the car, and then you could even program different road conditions, wet roads, mountain roads, sandy beach, whatever, dry roads, hilly roads. You could simulate the drive of the car with 100,000 miles on it. Do you see what I'm saying? Then you could even take another step further and add some sort of, right to the interface, you add some sort of a calculator so that you can figure out, how much are your payments if you put X amount down? What can you afford in terms of payments? This way, you're cutting out the finance person who is, their incentive is to get you to put, to spend as much money as you can per month, right? So they're not interested in your budget, but by doing this yourself, you can design your own budget. So let's say I put, $1,000 down. How much would my payments be each month? What if I put $2,000 down? Okay. What if I extend the terms of my purchase from 3 years to 5 years? What will that change? Can I actually even calculate the resale value of my car with 100,000 miles or 150,000 miles? Do you see what I'm saying? And then you could even do something like maybe check local inventory. So if the dealership you're at doesn't have a model very similar to what you configured, if they do, you can test drive it right there. If not, they can give you a report of competing dealerships in a certain radius that have something similar in stock, so that you can test drive it, right? You could even do something like add purchase right here in the interface and have it delivered to your home. Do you see what I'm saying? This way you can eliminate all sorts of issues and problems. And Christina, that's what we're after. We're after eliminating the pain points associated with car buying. So what we really need to do at this point is get down into your research, dig deep, and find out what bothers people the most about buying cars in our current process of buying cars, and address those issues through your add features to your configurator to address those issues. So by the end of the day, your user has the ability to configure their car, to figure out their finances, to test drive the car in a simulator, to test drive a real car with different road hazard conditions, to determine resale values, to determine your price, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and any other pain points that are identified through your research should be addressed in the interface. Whew, that was a mouthful. So anyways, Christina, right? Does that make sense? And that's what we're after, okay? So you can take this information from this video back to your team, and your teammates are gonna say, yes, I kind of got the same comments. That would be great for you to go into your teammates and take a look at their videos. And you guys, in your next meeting, you're gonna be saying, yeah, I got the same comments, so maybe we should start addressing pain points, right? That's what we're after, team. That's what we're after. Christina, and that's what we're after, team. We're after addressing the pain points. Okay, sorry I took 10 minutes to get that out, but I just want to be really, really thorough here. Questions, comments, concerns, clarifications, please, Christina, let me know. And I can address anything that happens to come up. Again, really great sketches, good ideas, but let's take this to the human-centered, deep dive immersion. Let's extend this to address human-centered design. Sound good? All right, Christina, thank you very much.